Good morning, grandkids. You know what? I think I need to get me some. I have seen people do their videos like this, and they have a screen behind them. And I have seen what it looks like. It's on some kind of a stand. And I think I ought to get me one like that because my room is getting so cluttered up and it looks so stupid behind me when I'm trying to read a story. Anyway, we're here for another story of the listener, so another chapter of the story of the listener. So let's go. The next morning I got up, and as I stretched, yawning wide, I was looking around at my little room. You know, this place looks dreary. The whole guild is a mess. If I was running things, I'd put people to work cleaning up the place instead of standing around or sitting on their butts doing nothing. Maybe I could at least make my own little room look better. I went down to the dining hall, and there sat Nazir, as I knew he would be. I picked up some milk and a sweet roll and walked over to the table. I was still busy thinking about this place and what could be done with it. If we could start pulling in more money, I might make this my future project. Since the night mother was here and she'd chosen a listener, things might start getting better. When I sat down, Nazir said, "Well, you're certainly looking better this morning." And this led into a discussion of his contracts. "So, what have you got for me?" I asked. "I have 3 to give you, but you can pick and choose which one first and when and so on." "Okay, what are they?" "Well, one is a cleaning woman named Agnes. She works for the bandits who are holed up at the old Fort Greymore. Have no idea what that's about. Another is a little Argonian up on the north coast. Goes by the name of Deacus. He may have run off with some stolen goods. Then there's a merchant. His name's Mirandrajo. This one may take some time. I would suggest that you wait until after your big gourmet job is finished before starting this one. This merchant is traveling with a Khajiit caravan, probably for protection. You know how they are always on the road when they don't have a camp set up somewhere. It may take a while to find them, and the Emperor will be arriving soon, so there really wouldn't be much time right now to spend chasing down a caravan." I thanked him and told him I'd follow his advice. I decided to pick up the kid and get going. Since he wasn't allowed inside the guild, we had set up a campsite for him near the pond with Shadowmere to watch over him. He was ready to go and waiting for me. As I walked out, I saw him adjusting his helmet, trying to make it set right. I smiled. I had thought about buying or stealing him a smaller one, but he was so cute when this one would be cocked almost over one eye that I just couldn't. I only hoped that it wouldn't get him killed. He asked me what adventure we were going on today, and I told him that we were going to kill a little old cleaning lady. "What? Why would anybody want to do that?" he said, with a shocked look on his face. "I have no clue. Mine is not to question, just to do." "But that's not adventure," he exclaimed. "Well, I never said life with me was an adventure. I'm an assassin." "Well, maybe I did lead you on when I hired you. A little bit." You'll get all the adventure you can handle when we start killing bandits at Fort Greymore. Arriving at Fort Greymore, I noticed that the barricade they had set up, made out of tied together spikes hammered into the ground, looked pretty lethal. Quite lethal. Also, there were 2 bandit guards in view up on the walls surrounding the courtyard and tower. The kid and I moved into the trees on either side of the path. As soon as the kid fired an arrow at one bandit, he zeroed in on where the kid was hiding and started sending a flurry of arrows into the trees. While they were occupied, I took on the other one, moving from one tree to another as I fired my arrows. Finally, he pitched forward off the wall. I don't know if he was dead yet, but he certainly was when he impaled himself on the spikes below. The kid had finally just stood behind a tree. So the bandit gave up and I ran down into the courtyard. In that moment, I motioned for the kid to come on, and we raced for the entrance through the wall, making our way through the maze of spikes. Of course, the kid had to stop and stare at the impaled bandit. I didn't know if he was ever going to get past his shock of seeing blood and death to ever become an adventurer. Inside the courtyard, there was a large campfire with several sleeping bags laid out in 2 pitched tents. Also, the bandit from the wall and 2 others. I drew out my blades and rushed the nearest one, while the kid was slinging arrows at one farther back. I wounded mine, and as he dropped to a knee, I turned to slash out at the third, a female, as she rushed me. The kid had killed his bandit and had turned toward me. The one I had wounded was now up and rushing me from behind. Unnoticed by me, Shadowmere had come into the courtyard and had already killed a bandit who had come running out of the tower with his mighty hoofs. He now rushed the bandit behind, rearing up to strike out at him just as the kid knocked an arrow. It seemed like everything started moving in slow motion. I was either going to take a blade, an arrow, or Shadowmere's hoofs. I had to move. I grabbed the female and marched her backwards as I moved forward out of danger. I slit her throat and dropped her into the edge of the campfire. Time had returned to normal, and I whirled around to check behind me. Shadowmere had bashed in the head of my bandit, and the kid was just standing there. All was quiet. Nothing was moving. The 3 of us looked around and then looked at each other. The courtyard was littered with dead bodies. So our job out here was done. The kid moved to the tower's door, and Shadowmere stayed in the courtyard to stand guard. I was enjoying having my horse around. Before we entered, I looked up the walls to make sure they were cleared and realized that it was dusk out. There was a beautiful, bright, full moon looking down as if observing the bloody battle and interested in who might win. Turning all the way around, I noticed a body in a hanging cage near the outer entrance of the wall. I hadn't even seen that when we came in. I guess the kid hadn't either, or he'd be standing there staring at it. We went on inside the fort, checking out more bedrolls, then fighting more bandits and a skeever or 2, and continued on. Finally, we found the bandit chief, and the two of us took him on together, putting him on the floor, begging for mercy. But you know me, no mercy. I looked around at the kid just as he poked up his helmet. "Well done, kid, well done," I told him. "Things got rather exciting there for a bit, huh?" he said with a grin. "It did indeed," I grinned back. "Come on, kid, let's find this Agnes woman." You know, after we had left Cicero, I had thought about taking the kid back to Dawnstar and leaving him, but he had asked if he could stay with me. I was kind of glad that I let him stay. After taking on these bandits, he seemed to be doing well enough and to be gaining some confidence. We went up a spiral stone staircase to the upper floor. Over by a fireplace stood a woman that had to be Agnes. She had on a dirty dress, messy gray hair. She'd been cooking what smelled like soup. She lifted the pot off its hook, and as she heard us, she set it down on the floor and turned toward us, her eyes wide in surprise. As soon as she saw the dagger in my hand, she got angry and started talking. "I'm not giving it back," whatever that was. "I'm deserving something for all the work I do around here for you men. You certainly aren't paying me enough." As I advanced toward her, she then realized that I wasn't one of them and said, "Wait, who are you? Where's the chief? How did you even get up here?" I told her that all she needed to know, that they're all dead. She looked startled at that and went on with, "Someone put out, oh, sorry." And I went on with, "Someone put out a contract on your life. Would you happen to know who or why?" I always tried to get answers, but I never did. "Well, no, I... So I shot her with an arrow instead of using my dagger. As she fell, she stumbled over the pot of soup, which spilled out onto the floor, and she fell into the mess. I turned to the kid and said, "Now our job is done." As we started back down the spiral stairs, I told the kid to relax for a bit, that I had something to do. I sat down on the bottom step and pulled out the journal. I will tell you about the battle here at the fort so you can see the progression of skill and confidence in the kid. I know you're probably telling me to please get him a smaller helmet that fits him, but hey, he's the humor in my day. So I hope you enjoyed this chapter, grandkids, and I will see you next time. All of you be good, behave, watch Skyrim, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.